Hi there everyone, welcome back to Drummer Artificer Studios. Today I'm going to give you a little tour of my basement workroom. So a little over a year and a half ago, my wife and I bought a new house, and it had a little storeroom down in the basement that was going to make a perfect little workshop for me. The entire space is only roughly 8 or 9 feet square, and it's positioned underneath one of the bathrooms and the staircase coming down into the basement. So it doesn't have a whole lot of square footage, even for being that size of a room, because it's got a section with the stairs in it. So I've spent the past year fixing it up, insulating some walls, putting some paneling on some of them, painting it, new flooring, and setting it up in a feasible, workable manner for the way I do stuff. So today I'm going to give you a little tour of it and show you how I have stuff set up and talk about how I'm going to be improving it, because you're going to be seeing more of it in content that's coming in the future. And some of the stuff I do is going to be about how I continue to improve the space down here. So let's get started. So immediately upon entering the room, you are met with this built-in workbench. This was here when we bought the house, but it was roughly another 10 to 12 inches coming out from where it is now. It's, I think it's roughly 14 to 15 inches deep now. It was just the bare wood. I painted it white like the rest of the room, and I used the vinyl flooring I put down on the floor as my desktop, so I would have a nice surface up on the top. On the top of the bench, you can see I've got a bench shear, drill press, belt sander, a few extra power tools in the back. Currently, this is where I have my pickling station for doing the jewelry work, but eventually that will be in our washroom, which is right next door because there's a sink there, and I've got a little bench vise. Underneath the workbench, I built this little pull-out cart that houses some more of my jewelry equipment and supplies. The entire thing just pulls right out so that I can easily access everything. And over on this side, I have my rubber vulcanizer for making jewelry molds. I have my wax injector for injecting those molds so I can do some castings. Then I've got my buffing machine and a scroll saw. I'm working on trying to figure out how to actually use that for cutting metal to speed up some of my processes. And then the shelf underneath, I have a bunch of my wax and mold making materials for using the other equipment. I'm trying to figure out how to make this room as versatile as possible. So that's why I wanted to have the cart that pulls out and then pushes back in when I don't need it. On the back side of the workbench, it did have a pegboard, but I'm not a huge fan of pegboards for storing tools. So I just put up a sheet of, I think I used a 1/2 inch plywood. And then I have racks of all my different paints down here with, you can see more obviously on top of them. And then I have some part sorters that I got off Home Depot that they came with these nice mounting holders for them, and I've got some stuff for my flex shaft, brushes, Sharpies, sculpting tools, stuff like that. Eventually I will add more tools all around on the pegboard. So right here next to the bench, between the bench and the door, I've just got some more tool storage. Eventually this will be a painting / soldering station. Right outside the door here, there's one of the basement windows. So I'm going to get a vent system designed for airbrushing with a exhaust fan so I can plumb it right out the window so I can do some painting, airbrushing, soldering, other stuff that involves fumes that I don't necessarily want to be breathing in a basement, because I don't really have a way to vent it right now, so I need to do that. So that's where this will eventually be located. On the other side of the bench now, we have some built-in shelving. Again, this came with the house. And I found that these little totes from Sterilite fit in almost perfectly, too tall. So I have a lot of my miscellaneous supplies and tools and crafting stuff all stationed out through here, because it gave me storage. That was one of the biggest things I didn't have, was any way of storing anything. To the right of the door, I still have a lot of decisions to make on what to do with this space, but I currently just have a steel shelf with some more storage on it. A lot of this is for projects in process and some larger, bulkier supplies that I don't really have anywhere else to go. Most of this black cart here is still more stuff to do with the jewelry casting and mold making process, so I have to find a better way of storing all of that together. And then I have a few things hung up. This is a sign from the first scout camp I worked at, and one of my Boy Scout certificates, and my master's diploma. So finally have a spot to hang some of this stuff. Next to that is my custom jewelry bench. It's built out of an old roll-top desk that, again, came with the house. And I built these cubes to raise it up to a good height for me and cut the curve out of the front so that I had an inlet to work on. And then I've been doing some tool extra storage on it. I got a spot for my saw frames and some of my other tools stashed around in it, holders for my ring mandrels and stuff. This is going to be evolving and growing as I get more into production jewelry work. So I still have to organize this a bit more. More things around decorating the space to give me some influence and good memories of things in the past. Next to that is what a friend fondly refers to as my Boondock Saints wall, because we're both big fans of that franchise. Most of these are either props that I have built or props that I have purchased. You can see I've got Legolas's daggers. Those, obviously, I did not build those. But most of the other bladed weapons up here I did build. You'll recognize some of the blasters I've done. A few more that I have planned in process up there. I will eventually do videos on modifying some of these Nerf guns. And then underneath that, I built a rolling storage case that I have my foam and leather and miscellaneous PVC rods in, so that I had a way of doing it and storing it that wasn't involving a 5-gallon bucket. And then right in front of that, I have a layout table that folds away so it doesn't take up as much space. And I can't unfold the entire thing in this space, but I can undo at least half of it and have a nice layout table right in the center of the room here so that I can work on some of the leather and foam. And then this guy here is my most recent addition. It is a anvil vise that a friend got me probably close to 12, 15 years ago. And it's just been bouncing around with me. I needed something in here that would allow me to do some hammering and forging in this space. So I pulled it out, started to clean up the surface, and mounted it onto a wood block. And now I've got a little anvil down here. It's primarily going to be used for jewelry work, so I don't really have to worry about anything with the hot metal, because this I do entirely cold. But that is pretty much the entire space. There's not much else to it. Like I said, as I do more content, you will see more of this space, and you will see it start to grow with me, and you'll see how I change it, and you'll see me do some more videos about updating some of it. I will also, once spring rolls around again and I manage to actually get to organizing my garage again, I will probably do some more videos out in the garage workspace. And so show you how I've got that set up. So I'm going to be trying to get more content made. I'm going to try and do it fairly regularly. I'm looking at trying to do a video a month. I've got a few projects I started before we bought the house and moved in. So I'm going to try and finish those up for you. And hopefully we'll be able to make some stuff. Thanks for joining me on this little tour, and I'll see you next time.